Well, I really can't believe last night they charged the fans 15 fucking quid to watch that absolute pile of shit. But I guess we're out the FA Cup now, can purely focus on the league. The one positive us fans from the London supporters branch can get from last night was bumping into Charlie Meffin on the train back. Kate showed willingness to come and sit with us, really show us words of optimism why we should remain positive for the rest of the season. But he also showed a lot of generosity by buying us all a pint in St Pancras Station when we arrived at the other end. So thank you very much for that, Charlie. But onto the game itself, it was just dire. So much lack of quality from both sets of teams. I know we had a lot of injury problems last night, but I would have thought we would have showed a little bit more desire to go on and win the game. I mean, Lawrence de Bock, who was forced to play in a back three, simply doesn't work. And Ali Mosturk, has so much lack of match fitness at the moment. It's easy to see. Brandon Taylor, though, what a debut for the young lad, really putting himself about, winning challenges, making the right balls over the top to the midfield and the strikers. I really hope we see much more of him in the future. I think he's a very talented player. But in this wing back role system we were trying to play last night, it didn't work one little bit. And Denver Hume, who was playing on the left in that wing back role, I've said many times on the channel, he simply can't play there. I think we need a fullback who can play that in that system in January and can go forward with the ball a little bit more quicker and put in more crosses over the course of a game, which Denver Hume does do at times but doesn't do enough. But our central midfield play was just awful last night. Max Power, Luke O'Nien was making really sloppy, unnecessary challenges at times, and Grant Ledbetter, I've said this before, he hasn't got the energy anymore, I mean, he's done a lot for this club, but we just need in January someone with a little bit more charisma in midfield, someone who can make those killer passes to the strikers. And speaking of the strikers, Will Grigg, I thought he had one of his better games last night. He was putting himself about when the ball was in the air, but we weren't making enough runs off him. I mean, Duncan Watmore, very poor. McGeady, when he came on, just as bad. Probably our best chance of the game we had was when Will Grigg in the second half. It was a nice bit of the only bit of link-up play, decent link-up play we did all game. McGeady fed it to Will Grigg, and Will Grigg just hit it wide of the post. But what summed up our performance last night? 120 minutes of football played and not a single shot on target. That is absolutely embarrassing. And I felt sorry for all the fans that travelled down last night. I know some were from neighbouring cities like London, like myself, but the fans that came all the way down by coach, just so poor. And what makes it worse, we're up against a team on Saturday who ended up putting 5 past us when we played them at home last season, Coventry City. If it's any time to start a winning run, it's now to really get the fans back on side. But with the overall quality of our squad at the moment and the way performances are going, I don't see that coming anytime sooner, if I'm honest. I mean, just so much negativity about the club at the moment. And speaking to Charlie Meffin last night, what I appreciate is he does show that he really does care when we have a defeat and he feels the pain of it. But looking at him last night, he did look very worried about the recruitment that we need to have in January, because we are probably approaching the biggest January transfer window the club's going to have in its history. We have to get the right players in that tick all the boxes to move forward, to really galvanise that dressing room for promotion this season. But at this moment in time, I don't think that current squad will even make playoffs, to be honest. Just so much lack of quality in all areas up and down the pitch. I mean, up front especially, I know Mark McNulty missed last night because of a hamstring injury. Charlie Wyke is still out as well. Will Grigg, it's not happening for him at the moment, and we can't rely on a young striker like Benji Kimmioka to come in and do a job. For me, he's not a goal scorer. He's someone that can just increase a lot of energy levels in the team when there's a lot of tired legs, someone to bring on and really run at defences. But at this moment in time, it's not great at all. I mean, last night that was probably the worst game of football I've watched in a very, very long time. It's the first Sunderland game that I've walked out of before the final whistle in about 8 years, and that just summed it up really. Very, very poor.